Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday, February 11th edition of the MMAOB Daily Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Adam Martin, and hopefully Marcel will join me in a little bit. He says he's on his way home. He just messaged me. Giving you guys an update. So I want to do the Bellator preview. I'm just going to make sure if Marcel's able to do that with me, because I think it'd be cool for him to do it with me. He's just at his full-time job right now, so he's on the way back. Hopefully he gets back to you in a few minutes. But I do want to go through that tournament because, man, it's pretty freaking sweet. Like, it's pretty sweet. Eight great – I wouldn't – well, I don't know if I should say 8 great fighters, because one of the guys I literally never heard of until yesterday, which probably says more about me, if anything. But I like this card a lot, man. I like this tournament a lot, I should say. It's solid. And a lot of people were complaining about some of the matchups and stuff, but I think they did a pretty good job. I mean, it's hard. There's always going to be someone complaining about the fights. Every tournament that's ever been done in the history of MMA, like it's Strikeforce tournament, people complained about because Fedor fought Bigfoot in the first round, and everyone's like, why did they fight in the first round? Why didn't, Bigfoot fight someone else in the first round, or Fedor fight someone else, not Bigfoot? Why didn't he fight Overeem? Why didn't we see that fight? So it's like they can't win, because in that case, Scott Coker's like, okay, we're going to try to hopefully get a Fedor versus Overeem final. I think that was the plan back then. And then, of course, Overeem, he had this fight with Verdum like 10 years ago, which was a really hyped up fight. It was supposed to be Gina Carano's return on the same card. And he had this terrible fight with Verdum Overeem Day, but he went to the UFC afterwards. They brought him in. He fought Brock Lesnar. So he got obviously taken out of that tournament. And, of course, we know Daniel Cormier went in and took his spot. So, yeah, I mean, right now, some of the brackets might look a little funny, but the odds of all 8 men even making it through the end, I don't even think are that high. Like, I know Bellator has accomplished a few tournaments in the past without any alternates, I guess, needing entry. But, like, the thing with Bellator is, like, some of these tournaments take 2 years to do. Like, the featherweight tournament is taking over 2 years, I think, to do. And it was a great tournament, great idea. It's not their fault that COVID-19 happened and delayed it. But, I mean, I hope that this tournament doesn't take that long. That's all I'll say. But, again, we're going to wait a few minutes, guys, to talk about it because I want Marcel's thoughts. So, he said he's on his way home, so hopefully soon. I'm here till 11. So, in the meantime, we can do some news and stuff. If you guys are in the chat, throw me a message in there. Let me know that you're alive, that you're awake. We're here on Thursday morning. We're going to talk about the Bellator light heavyweight tournament in a few minutes, but I do want to talk about just like some news, I guess, beforehand. We can even do some Bellator news quickly off the top because they did announce some fights for that card. Let me pull it up here on their Twitter just to make it easier for everyone. And they got some nice fights coming up, man. I got to give Bellator some credit because we really had no idea what they were doing, and it seemed like almost like it was like, have they forgotten about their promotion? And then they go in there and they announce some great fights. So let's go through some of them here. This one looks pretty solid. All right. Should be good. The rematch between Pitbull and Emmanuel Sanchez. So this is on the April 2nd card. First fight was really good. First fight was super close. Actually, looking back, it was a unanimous decision for Pitbull. But I remember watching that fight, and a lot of us were like, wow, this fight really could go either way. Emmanuel Sanchez is not a household name by any means. He's kind of just a guy to a lot of casual fans probably, but to many of us who have watched him in Bellator over the years, this guy's good. And he comes from a good camp, Rufus Sport, and he looked incredible in his last fight. I thought he looked fantastic. So he's getting better, and that's the scary part of this guy. Right now he's 30 years old. He's 20-4. He's won 7 in his last 8. The only loss in that stretch to Pitbull. His only losses in Bellator are to Pitbull, Weichel, and Curran, all by decision. 2 of them are champions or former champions, and then one was a good fighter as well. So he is a solid fighter, guys. I wouldn't sleep on him completely. He's coming off back-to-back wins over Weichel and Claxton. That Weichel fight was a hell of a war. It went 5 rounds. It was a great fight. The problem is that Pitbull is just an absolute beast. I've always liked Pitbull, and I still do. They even mentioned on the broadcast the other day, they were like, Pitbull's the greatest Bellator bred fighter of all time. It used to be Michael Chandler. That's what everyone used to always say. Michael Chandler's the best Bellator created fighter, even though he had his first fight in Strikeforce, by the way. but they all think that he's a Bellator homegrown talent. He basically is, because most of his fights took place there. But I think Pitbull kind of overtook him when he knocked him out, and as good as Chandler is, and you guys know I really like Michael Chandler, I think Pitbull's like just on the same level, if not even higher. Like, I think he could be even higher tier than Michael Chandler, and he did beat him head to head, and he's won fights in 2 weight classes. He's actually champion in 2 weight classes, so the guy's phenomenal. I do expect him to be a sizable favorite for this fight. Obviously, he was last time. I think he was like probably minus 300 or 400. I haven't, I didn't double check, but that's what I think it was. And I expect the line to be probably somewhat similar. I mean, to be fair to Pitbull, like throughout his career, there hasn't been always a ton of respect to his name, I would say. Like when he fought Chandler, he was an underdog, for instance. He fought a lot of these guys. He was an underdog, and he won a lot of fights as a dog, including numerous championship fights. And there's been numerous fights where it looked like he was down and out and came back and won, like the Daniel Weichel fight, for instance, the first time they fought. So the guy's a stud. I fully expect him to win this fight. I just think that Sanchez is extremely underrated by casual MMA fans, and he doesn't have a big name, but he'll make it a competitive fight. The first fight was very competitive. I will watch that fight back in preparation for this one. My initial lean would obviously be towards Pitbull, like all of us will, but I just think it's going to be probably more competitive than some people think. Now, I'm going to go through the light heavyweight fights whenever Marcel comes in here, hopefully soon. But in the meantime, there's another fight here that I really like. May 7th, Bellator 258, Juan Archuleta against Sergio Pettis, not Anthony Pettis, Sergio Pettis, for the 135-pound title. Love this fight, too. Makes a lot of sense. I actually thought that they'd fight the last time out, but Archuleta fought Patchy Mix instead and won the belt from him. Archuleta right now, looking at his resume, I mean, it's really good. It's another guy that you wonder why the UFC never gave him a call, because he had so many wins in the regional scene in California, and Gladiator Challenge and King of the Cage. The guy had an 18-1 record, and then Bellator signed him, and he's looked good in Bellator. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Look at his resume in Bellator, 7-1. The loss to Pitbull at a higher weight class, by the way. He is a bantamweight. He's fought at lightweight and featherweight too, but he's a bantamweight. And man, I like this guy. And not only that, but I think that, he's shown a lot of like confidence lately too. Like if you look at his social media, the guy's really like peacocking it, which I like. So he's got a lot of confidence in his game right now, man. And it's hard to say, hard to see why. Not hard to see why, because you look at his last couple wins, very impressive. Corrales and then Patchy Mix, and he pretty much dominated both those guys. They're both very good fighters in Bellator. So I think that Archuleta is awesome. Now, Pettis definitely is an interesting opponent for him. Pettis, very experienced. He's actually the younger guy here by 4 years, even though he's been around forever. Pettis was in the UFC back in 2015, and remember he made his debut. So he was fighting at the highest level of the sport when he was 19 years old. I mean, the guy has been around for a long time. Obviously, the brother of Anthony, who's in PFL's tournament, who could win that $1 million. This could be a big year for the Pettis family. Sergio, he's on a 3-fight win streak right now. He is coming off back-to-back wins in Bellator over Ricky Banderas and Alfred Kashakian, former Contender Series guy. Overall, in the UFC, he had a pretty good record. It was 3, 8, 9, and 5. So the guy was solid. He got released because I don't even think it was really a straight release. His contract was done, and they were like, okay, go see what's out there. He got a great deal from Bellator. Also, I think at that point, the UFC wasn't like 100% on the flyweight. Like I think they are now for the most part. So, you go look at Pettis, and he had some losses to end his UFC run. But again, you lost to Cejudo. You lost to Formiga, who at the time was great. And Rob Font, who's still like really, he's actually a top 5 guy right now. So not only that, but he beat Brandon Moreno. He beat Joseph Benavidez. He beat Tyson Nam. I mean, the guy is good. This is a good fight. I got to favor Archuleta again. I know they're going to be the chalk, probably be a small favorite here if I had to guess. He's never really a huge favorite. I think in the last fight he might have been an underdog against Patchy Mix, but either way, he is great. He is good, man, and he's training with TJ Dillashaw. And we've seen TJ's pictures lately. He looks amazing. Can't wait for him to come back. Although I don't think he should be fighting for the belt, but I'm excited for his return either way. Although again, I have questions about his past steroids and stuff. Marcel still should be here in about 8 minutes, guys. So whenever he gets here, I'm going to throw it up on Twitter and let other people know. But he'll be here, and then we'll go through the tournament together. Now, let's see what else I got here in the meantime. All right, let's do some other news here. I'm going to close this window for now. Okay, so again, Marcel will be here in 7-8 minutes. A few pieces of news we'll talk about. Khabib Nurmagomedov spoke to the media in Russia. I watched the press conference. It did have subtitles, which was nice. Eagle Fighting Championships is his promotion. It used to be called Guerrilla Fighting Championships. He was there. They asked him about his upcoming meeting with Dana White, which he confirmed. He will be speaking to Dana before the end of the month, I believe, in Vegas. Khabib said he's basically like, if you guys watch it, he's like the politest, nicest guy. He's got great manners, but he was basically like, Dana's my friend. When we go to Vegas, I have tea with him and coffee and drinks. That's basically what he's saying. He's like, the media doesn't need to know everything we talk about. That's what I thought was really funny, because he was like, please, guys. He's like, you don't need to know every detail. Having said that, what I'm going to tell him, and he goes and starts talking about it, he said, we're going to go there and we're going to talk to Dana and say, basically, we don't want this division to be drung along by us. And I do believe he will vacate the belt at the end of the month. So I think that's what all of us are thinking at this point. He did say that he understands Dana's point of view. He said, I've told Dana, I don't have the heart for this anymore. Having said that, I respect Dana White because of his business acumen. And, I understand why Dana White wants to bring me back. So he'll listen to him. It's like a respect thing. Like, Khabib really respects Dana. And, you can see why. Dana White's helped make him millions. It's been him in the cage doing all the work, but Dana White's giving him the platform and obviously the contract. So, the guy's incredible, but I do think that in a lot of time we need to lay off this guy a little bit too, especially in the wake of his father passing a few months ago. Everyone was hounding him. Lay off the guy. He's been through a lot lately, but he'll make his decision soon. I just don't expect it to be in the favor of him returning to the octagon anytime soon. I'm going to get these comments. Kevin Scott, hey, what's up? He says, couldn't join this week. Just wanted to agree with Marcel and TJ discussion. I understand TJ's a bigger name, might draw better, but that shouldn't influence our opinions at all. Yeah, absolutely. And let me talk about it in a second. I want to get Marcus's comment. I missed this, Marcus. Sorry. He said, are you surprised Dana's not stripped Khabib by now? No, I'm not. And I think it's a respect thing too. He's going to let him vacate the belt. I don't think it'd be like a John Jones thing where, he hit that pregnant woman and broke her arm in that hit and run. Then they stripped him. That's a different situation. Like, Khabib's never did anything wrong. Like, he's did everything right. Khabib's always got the right answers. He's the kind of guy that you want to really build the image of, I think, any sporting promotion or any event around. Like, this guy he's just such a great guy, man. He really is. Like, during the interview yesterday, he starts talking. Someone asked him about some Instagram post he made with some poem or something, and he starts going off on this tangent about how young people are not taking school seriously now. And he's like, when I was 14 years old, my father said, you have to finish your studies, then you can train. And he said his dad was training other guys, Abdullah. He was training other young fighters, and these fighters were talking to Khabib and saying, you're going to be a teacher one day. He said, no, I want to be a fighter, but I want to do my school first. And he says that, young fans, we need to change our future generations. People need to start having more of an interest in education and studies, which I thought was phenomenal. The guy he's the real deal, man. He's the full package when it comes to a role model. And I think at this time, he's not going to fight again. So, and I hope when this happens that everyone's not calling him like a wimp and stuff, that he's quitting and running away from Conor and Dustin and stuff. We've already beat those guys. The truth is, he promised his father and mother he wasn't going to fight again. And he did for us when he fought Gaethje. He did out of respect for the fans. But I think at this point, unless it's that GSP fight, which his father and him were very much in discussion about, I don't think he'll do it, man. I'm going to grab some comments here again. Cameron Miller, he's done everything right besides jumping the fence at 221. That was a mess. I was at my buddy's house for that. I remember watching it. A bunch of friends were, a few journalists too that you guys might recognize. But we're all like, oh man, great win. And then he jumps the fence and we're like, oh, is he going to lose his belt? He's going to get stripped. That could have been the time he got stripped. That's the only time really. But otherwise, he's been a role model. Kevin, just to talk about you and the Cory Sandhagen thing, you said if they sell 1,000 or 1 million, I don't care. I just want to see great fights. Yeah. So that's actually the next thing I want to bring up quickly here, the Sandhagen thing. We had the discussion. Obviously, you guys heard it. You guys know where I'm staying. I think he should get the title shot. He's coming off back-to-back flying knee and spinning wheel kick knockouts. How does it get better than that? It can't, right? So I think he should be next in line for the belt. But I didn't want to hear Cole's argument. And I agree with Cole. He's right, too. I think Marcel and Cole are both right. I'm in the middle a little bit, which is fine. They're at odds with each other here. But, I think they're both right. I think Cole's right in that that's the biggest fight. From a promotional point of view, that's the fight they want to make probably. But from Marcel's point of view, who's deserving? It's not him, Now, I wouldn't be surprised either way. And now Cory Sandhagen's actually out there saying, I'll fight TJ if I have to, and I'll fight Cody Garbrandt. So that's the only fights he'll take. You'll get a title shot or those two guys. And, if he beats either Garbrandt or Dillashaw, he obviously deserves a title shot. I think he already does. I mean, look what he's did. It's been amazing. Marcel's here, guys. The big man is here. Hey, Marcel, what's up, man?
Hey, what's up, man? Just got over.
Yeah, retweet it with your handle, okay?
Sorry, I didn't catch what you said.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm gonna put just retweet it, so if you don't mind, just to get to more people in here. You okay?
Yeah, for sure.
You're at work, huh?
Yeah, just finished, man. But it's freezing and snowing outside, and we had the sun at the same time, so it's very tough this week.
That sucks, man. Well, hopefully we can make you feel a little better, buddy. We're going to talk about the Bellator Grand Prix in a minute here. I know that you want to talk about that. I just want to answer one of Kevin's questions in the chat, and then we'll get to it. I'm just tweeting it out, Marcel. Break down the Bellator Light Heavyweight Grand Prix. I love the tournament, man.
Yeah, it's cool, man.
I just tweeted Marcel. If you don't mind retweeting, Marcel, because I know your fans obviously are waiting for you.
Yeah, let me check.
I'm telling you, man, you got a lot of fans, dude. You got to start your own Patreon like Kaposa did. Now Pitbull is helping him out too, which is awesome to see. I don't know if you saw that. That was cool. I'm gonna get your question. Yeah, I'm gonna get your question, Kevin, and then we'll talk about the bracket. Kevin says, when you break down fights, in what order do you pay attention to the following? Resume, styles, intangible, measurables, gut feeling, anything I'm missing? That's a great question. I think for me, it's like all those stuff, man, for sure. I really hate looking at a fight and being like, I think this guy's going to win, even though I do that all the time. I just hate doing it because literally both fighters can win in the sport. Like, there's so many ways to win. It's not boxing where you can only win one way, really. There's so many different methods of victory. So there's a lot of those things, man. Everything you said, Kevin, and more. I guess I'd have to write down the method to my madness, but for me, I guess I'll look at best fight odds. I'll kind of get my initial leads. Then I'll dig into the research. I'll look at tape. Especially for the newcomers, because I've never seen them before. I'll look at tape, but all the physical stuff, the resume, and also gut feeling for sure. Because sometimes, for instance, Michael Chandler had a shorter reach. You guys know I love the reach, but I really liked what I've seen from him, and I thought I could catch Hooker, and he did. So it's one of those things, man. But sometimes they're completely wrong too. Marcus is asking about the tournament. Let's talk about it, Marcel. Let's talk about this tournament. I really like this. Let me pull up the bracket here. What were your initial thoughts when they announced the tournament the other day?
I thought, where the hell is Musashi?
The thing is, Marcel had messaged me earlier in the day, and he said, I heard Musashi is going to be in it. That's what you told me. And yeah. I was like, awesome, because he's great. And then what happened? What'd you hear?
So, we hear that Musashi was in it, that, Romero was in it, Johnson was in it, Beta was in it, and Machida was in it, I think. That's what we heard. And we didn't know about Nemkov for sure, but we figured he was in it as well as the defending champion, But, we were surprised, man, that Giga wasn't in it. And Scott Coker said something like he couldn't make the way to 205 or something. What? But there's something weird in that, man. Definitely because Giga said in many interviews lately that he wants to go to 205. So right. That's probably not the real reason. I don't know the real reason. I have my thoughts about it, but I don't know. So yeah, that's pretty disappointing to me, honestly, because I think that would be fun if Musashi was in the tournament as well,
Oh yeah, but, I thought he would have been too. Like, I think there was a chance. I actually remember I did an article for Jose says good morning. Hey Jose, I did an article for MMA ratings like a few months ago, Marcel. My editor messaged me yesterday. He's like, dude, you got almost all these matchups right. Like, I had most of them right. I think I didn't have Musashi because I had a prospect in there, right? And Glickus, the guy from Contender Series.
Yeah.
I had him in it because I thought that a guy like that deserves a shot, Because if you look at it, right?
Probably an alternate.
Yeah. Yes. I think they'll do an alternate fight. I don't know if they announced it, but I'm assuming it'll be him and Anthony Edwards, I think, is a really good prospect, right?
Yeah, they will do two alternate fights.
Two alternate fights.
Yeah.
For each bracket, right? For each side.
Probably, yeah.
And it could happen. I mean, Marcel, remember when Cormier, I talked about this earlier, when he won the Strikeforce tournament, he came in as an alternate when Overeem was signed to the UFC. So there's a possibility that I doubt it because I'm sure they lock these guys into deals as far as that happening, but someone could get injured or COVID-19. Someone could easily get COVID and their $1 million run could end like that.
Definitely right now, man. I mean, it's probably it sounds pretty bad, but it's the best thing to be an alternate at the tournament right now, because you have a huge chance you get into the tournament.
Yep, I agree. All right, let's look at the bracket here. I'm gonna pull it up, just in case people didn't see. I'm sure everyone did already, but that's it. There we go. So you can't really see the names too well, but we could talk about these. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about let's answer Marcus's question. His question was, what do you think about matching up these two guys in the bottom right here, Anthony Johnson and Yoel Romero? I love it, Marcel. And Marcus. I love it, both guys. The thing is, for me, you can't guarantee that you'll have that final. So you might as well just do the biggest fight for the fans. They're not just doing a tournament, guys. They're also trying to sell Showtime subscriptions. The whole thing was a commercial for Showtime. It was like $5 for the next 6 months or whatever. That's what they're trying to do here. They need big fights like this. Bellator needs big fights right now. If they had did Anthony Johnson versus, like, I don't know, Machida or something instead, and Romero versus like the guy who's fighting Corey Anderson, no one would really be interested. But because they're fighting each other, I think it's a great fight. I personally like it, Marcus. I understand the argument that, you're arguably getting rid of the final in the first round, but there was no guarantee that both these guys were going to make it to the end. They are a favorite to win by a lot of people, Marcel. Like, a lot of people think one of these two guys will probably win the tournament from this matchup, but I'm telling you guys, don't sleep on the other people on this tournament. Don't sleep on the champ Nemkov. Don't sleep on this new guy that we don't even know how to pronounce his name. Don't sleep on these guys. Anyone can win this tournament. But as far as this fight goes, Marcel, we do have odds for this fight. Yoel Romero, I believe, is a small favorite in this fight. Let me pull that up. But I think when I saw last time, he was actually a small favorite to win. Let me see if it's up here. He is minus 130 and Johnson's plus 100. So again, don't give me your pick or anything, but any thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, man. I mean, I would have made a fight as well. I mean, imagine you match up Anthony Johnson with, let's say, Corey Anderson, and you match up Romero with Yakshimuradov, and both guys come through, but one guy gets injured, for example, and you can't make that fight. So it's a good thing. Bellator should make this fight. It's a big fight. I think it should headline an event. It's a co-main event. Kind of weird, to me.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, why not? And it's good that the quarterfinals are close to each other. It's only 1 week in between, so it feels more like an actual tournament than they did with featherweight tournament, which was like 10 months each other from every single quarterfinal. No, it wasn't meant to be like that, but it happened.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing. I like the matchup, so looking forward to it. Yeah, let's say I like 3 matchups. One is not really why I think.
I think I have a guess on what that is, but I'll wait a second because I want to get these comments here. Cole's here. Hey, Cole, how's it going? He said, just copying here quick to say there's no way for Canadian viewers to watch it. I did see that clip, Cole. I don't know the reporter, but I think he's a Toronto-based guy, which I surprisingly don't know. But he had asked Scott afterwards, and Scott said they're figuring something out. He's talking to a few TV stations. So I don't know if you saw that, Cole, but there could be some good news. But right now, yeah. And Kevin's like, you guys don't have Showtime. We don't have Showtime. We used to have something called Super Channel, which used to show the Showtime fights. I used to watch Strikeforce on every weekend. So we did used to have something that showed it, but I don't know what now. Bellator was even hard. It was impossible to watch last year, so I have no idea what they're going to do this year. But I'll be honest, if they made it impossible for us in Canada to watch it without reverting to legal means, that's embarrassing. Like, they need to find a way to put it on TV. There's no doubt. TSN or Sportsnet, wherever. Cole's not a fan of the Friday nights. I actually don't mind the Fridays. I know what you're saying, Cole. He's like, he liked the Thursday and Saturday, Marcel, because he likes having a night off to go out with his friends. I understand that, Cole. I'm okay with the Friday nights. Bellator did Fridays for years. Then they switched to Saturdays, but I like the Fridays. What do you think, Marcel?
The main card start time is horrible, man.
It's too late, though. I agree with that.
3 a.m. over here.
Yeah, it's too late.
That just sucks.
He said 9 p.m. And here's the other thing about Bellator, Marcel.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fluff during their broadcast. Like, there's a lot of talking in between the fights.
Yeah.
And their broadcast lasts like 3-4 hours for like three fights sometimes. That's what I don't like about it. There's too much of the show part of it. They just need to get to the freaking fights, man.
Man, even the press last night was very,
it was kind of bizarre, right?
Very long. Yeah, it took very long. They're gonna in depth about the featherweight Grand Prix. Nobody gives a shit,
Yeah,
man.
I
Everybody
know. I
knows that
agree.
already.
Dude,
You
that,
know,
that
so
tournament started like 3 years ago. Like, when did it even start?
yeah.
2 years ago. 2 years ago. But it's like, and I hope that doesn't happen here, Marcel. I really hope there's not another COVID issue or whatever where this tournament doesn't finish until these guys are in the nursery homes, because some of these guys are getting pretty old, man. A few of these guys like Machida and stuff. Actually, let's get to that one here. Waleed Raid, hey, how's it going, man? He says, what do you think about Bader competing at light heavyweight? He likes him better at heavyweight. He says he's going to go back to heavyweight after this fight. He's not being stripped. Now, it depends what happens, because if he beats Machida and moves on, they might have to make a decision about an interim belt, according to Scott Coker. I don't know who would fight for that belt, but, Bader hasn't defended it since the Chia Congo fight, where it was the eye poke, no contest. So it's been a while. As far as this rematch goes, this is one of the fights I did predict. I did call for this fight. I like this rematch personally, and I'll tell you why. Because the first fight 9 years ago in August 2012, remember the fight very well. It was on the Shogun Brandon Vera card. That card was great, by the way. Great card. This was one of the co-main event, I believe. And I remember this because I used to be on the UFC media calls, and I remember asking Dana White, who's getting the next title shot against John Jones? Who's going to get it? Is it going to be the most impressive guy? And he said, yeah, it is. So he said it's going to be the most impressive. And later that night, Machida ended up being the most impressive, even though he was in the co-main event and Shogun was the main event. So Machida went out there and knocked out Bader, who rushed in and got caught. He was a big favorite then. 9 years later now, Bader's a huge favorite. So the odds have completely flipped, Marcel. Everyone thinks Bader's going to steamroll him here. I'm not 100% convinced. I don't know if he's the same guy at 205 that he is at heavyweight. I think that his chin looked really shaky in the fight with Nemkov. Machida is a very technical striker. Listen, Bader with the wrestling probably doesn't win this fight, Marcel, but we've seen him fight, and Machida knocked him out. So I think people are kind of writing off Machida a little bit. He is the biggest underdog in this tournament. He's plus 3,000. What's your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, man, you're gonna hate me for this because this is the fight I really don't.
No,
care
this is the
about,
one I thought.
honest.
I figured this is the one you didn't like, by the way. I did figure this is the one. Go ahead.
I think Bader will cruise to the unanimous decision win in this one.
It's 5 rounds too, right? We got to mention that. It's 5 rounds.
Yeah, and that's even worse for Machida, I think. I think Bader cruises to unanimous decision win. Maybe some ground and pound, I don't know, but I think Machida's best days are behind him, man. And there's no disrespect to the guy. He has been an amazing guy in MMA.
Yep.
So nothing against him, but I don't see Bader losing this at all. You guys can trash me all you want if Bader somehow loses this fight, but I don't think it will happen. I got Bader unanimous decision win.
I mean, I'm looking at the odds right now. Okay, something's wrong with the odds here because two books have different odds. BetOnline has Bader at minus 350, which I think is correct, and then William Hill has Machida at 350. So that must be a mistake, if I had to guess. I think it is minus 350 for Bader. So he's a big favorite, Marcel. I'm just saying, because remember the first time they met, dude, and no one gave Bader a shot in that fight. And the odds for that fight, Machida closed at minus 370, and Bader was the plus 230 dog. So it's literally flipped odds 9 years later. And, of course, that's a long time. Bader's probably going to win this fight. I'm just saying, I think people are writing off Machida. He is the odds-on biggest underdog in this whole tournament. I'm not so sure about that. I'll get these comments here. Tyler says, all the tournament fights, 5 rounds. Yes, they are. I believe they are, Marcel.
They're
5, right?
100%. Yeah.
JCSO, greetings, nerds and virgins. What's going on, man? He's talking about you, Marcel. I have a kid coming, so I'm not a virgin anymore, guys. JCSO, Bellator tournament got me hyped. Dude, I think it's great, man. I think it's great. This is what they need, Marcel. They needed something like this. Bellator's almost become a butt end of a joke in MMA in many ways. People joke about Bellator. I think this is what they need to get a little bit more respect, if you had to ask me. Okay, so, this is a great question. With USADA, the picture, how juicy you expect Rumble and Yoel to be? I mean, they're supposed to do some drug testing at the Mohegan Sun. They said they're supposed to be. Rumble hasn't fought in 4 years, so who knows what he's been doing. I think he's just been smoking a ton of weed from what I've seen. He's a huge pawhead. He's doing he's got a marijuana business now. Great, good for him. I'm happy for the guy. I hope that doesn't if he tests positive for marijuana, that would be stupid. I hope not. It could happen. I don't know how the Mohegan Sun handles marijuana cases. I'm just saying, because if you look at his Instagram, it literally is all weed. It's not like I'm just bringing this up. He's very well open about it. So hopefully there's nothing wrong with that. Imagine that, Marcel, he goes in there and knocks out Romero. and then it's like Anthony Johnson test positive for marijuana and metabolites, and like.
Remember Nick Diaz against Takanori Gomi and Pride?
Buddy, exactly. I remember that one. I remember what they said. That Keith Kaiser was like, you were high. You weren't able to feel any pain. You were immune to pain. I was like, really? That's what happens when you get high? You don't feel pain? It reminds me of that scene in that movie Knocked Up. You ever seen Knocked Up? It's a great movie. You ever seen that one? Seth Rogen?
I don't think so, no.
He's like, he was like, oh man, one time like my shoulder popped out and I just smoked a lot of weed and put it back in. Like it still clicks a bit, but it hurts. It was a funny joke.
Well, maybe I should give Seth Rogen another chance. I saw him one time in The Green Hornet, and after that, I
never seen that movie. No, he's got some good ones, bro. Knocked Up.
Okay, I banned every movie with Seth Rogen.
40-Year-Old Virgin is a classic, bro. You got to go watch those movies, man. They're some of my favorites. Go watch 40-Year-Old Virgin, Marcel. You love that movie. It's so funny, bro. I can watch it like and still laugh at it. Let me get some comments. Jose says, "Oh, sorry, Jose. That's not about this. I just want to finish this tournament first. Was there one other fight here? No, okay. There's two other fights in the bracket. We talked about Machida and Bader. We talked about Johnson and Romero. Okay, let's talk about this one. Corey Anderson. I cannot pronounce his name. Please tell me his name, and then I'm going to tell a funny story. What's his name? How do you say it?
I think Dovletsan Yakchimuradov.
That sounds pretty good to me, Marcel. I mean, I got to be honest. That sounded good. Okay, so I'm not going to lie. When they did the press conference, I'm watching, and they're like, Corey Anderson. I'm like, okay, cool. Who's going to fight? Then they said this guy, and I was like, who the fuck is this guy? I've never heard of him. And Cole messaged me. He's like, who is this guy? I've never heard of him either. He's the ACA champion. So it shows how dumb me and Cole are. We're just North American MMA fans. I'm kidding. I think I've heard of him, Marcel, but I couldn't recognize him at that moment. And when they announced the fight, I was like, oh my God, they're just going to do squash matches for everyone. They're going to do squash matches. They're going to put him against random people. But this guy's not a squash match. In fact, he opened as the favorite in this fight.
Yeah, I know.
Right now, he's actually the underdog. He's plus 110. Corey's minus 140, which I think makes more sense, by the way, just because Corey's actually proven himself at this level. He was a top 5 guy in the UFC, Marcel. So, having said that, I don't trust his chin at all. And I think this guy can knock him out. What do you think?
Yeah, same, man. Yakchimuradov is a good fighter. I've seen some of his fights in ACA and also ACB. He's solid. He has some heavy wrestling as well, but he can punch, man. He has a one-punch knockout. And I think it will be a tough fight for Corey Anderson, man. Stylistically, it's a tough fight, definitely, because Yakchimuradov has some good wrestling too. I think he's also a sambo fighter. He's good. The people were like, "This is an easy fight for Corey Anderson, man. Don't put your money just like that on Corey Anderson because you don't know the guy he's fighting.
Yeah,
do some research, and it's a tough matchup for him. It's pretty much a 50-50 fight here, in my opinion."
Yeah, I'm just looking at his record: 18-5-1. He's a 31-year-old fighter. He's from Turkmenistan. So I don't know too many fighters from that region, to be honest with you. But if
he
you
was
look
the
at
first champion from Turkmenistan in MMA. So
there you go, perfect. So the guy, Marcel, you look at his resume, a lot of finishes, a lot of knockouts. He's also been submitted a bunch too, so he might have a weakness on the ground if I had to guess. But I have to watch more tape on him. But he is on an 8-fight win streak heading into this fight. And he's got some nice wins there. Karol Solinsky, that's a nice name there, Marcel. And Joaquin Christensen, former UFC fighter, one of your favorites who used to fight in the UFC, Marcel, one of your all-time favorites. Didn't he fight Georges Stanhope? Did he fight him? I can't remember.
No, that was Christian Colombo who fought Georges Stanhope.
Sorry. Joaquin Christensen, Danish fighter. He fought Reyes, he fought Antigulov, and he fought Henrik de Silva and lost them all. He also beat your other guy, Bohan Mihalovic, or whatever, who fought the Gano guy.
Yeah. The guy from Serbia, right? Who
That's the guy.
Against Gano and Edilov.
Yep, that was tough. And Edilov was a good prospect. Too bad about him. Now, the last fight here, Marcel, Vadim Nemkov right now is a small favorite. Only a small favorite, minus 150 against Phil Davis. So he actually opened at minus 350, and the odds have dropped a lot, even though he has a previous win over him, even though he's a champ. I got to be honest, Marcel, I think this is an easy fight for Nemkov. You know, all respect to Phil Davis. He's a great wrestler. We know that his striking's improved. Good cardio, everything. Nemkov, I think, knocks him out. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely, man. Nemkov all the way in this one. I think Nemkov is the champion, is also the big favorite to win this tournament, in my opinion. So
he is.
I don't see Davis I don't see Davis winning this one. Let me say honestly, I'm surprised, man, that they put Nemkov Davis on the same side of the bracket as Johnson Romero, man. I would expect to see like the Nemkov Davis on the right side with Corey Anderson and Yakshimuradov, and on the left side Johnson Romero and Beta Machida. That would have.
Yeah, I agree with that. That part I agree with. Yeah, because I feel like the left side of the bracket's weaker. I really do.
Yeah,
I think the right side has got 3 guys that can win the tournament, and the left side's got 1 in Bader, maybe. And I don't even know if Bader can win. Like, I know Bader beat Rumble a few years ago, Rumble beat him, I mean. So, I mean, even that's a tough fight.
Yeah.
We'll see. The other thing is, though, they're saying April, July, October. I'd be surprised, Marcel, if that's actually going to happen. That seems pretty, like, optimistic, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Same. I think the same.
All right, let's get to some other questions. Anyone has any more questions about the tournament, throw them in here. We'll answer them, but we'll talk about some other things. I had some questions from earlier. We'll get them now. Jose, thoughts on Stipe versus Kane and Kane versus Opening fights never happened. They would have been great fights at the time, I think, but never got to see them. Kane's prime was just not very long. What do you think, Marcel?
It's tough to say, man. What time you wanted it to happen? What did you want to happen 1 year ago? Did you want it to happen 5 years ago? You know, I had to know what, but yeah, I mean, Kane just had too many injuries. You know, I think he could have been the best heavyweight in the UFC, but he had too many injuries. And prime Stipe against a prime Kane? I don't know. So it's a tough question, man.
It would have been a great fight, actually, especially to see if he would have been able to take Stipe down. I don't know. I mean, Stipe's wrestling is quite good himself.
I think if Kane not would have been so many injured, and he was more active at heavyweight, Cormier would have never been a heavyweight champion. Probably he would have stayed at light heavyweight. I
agree with that. And if I'm not mistaken, he's not doing the WWE thing anymore either. I don't think it worked out for him. If I'm not mistaken, it could be wrong, but I think he's a guy that was just hounded by injuries, man.
Yeah.
Let me get this question from Jose as well. He says, what's next for the Japanese girl that beat Marcos back in November? She has impressive record in wrestling credentials. What's her name again?
Kanaka Murata.
Yeah, she was Rising champ?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Yeah, she was also Invicta champ.
Yes. Well, any news?
No, nothing. I haven't heard anything about her lately. So
Kanako Murata, yeah, she was, like you said, Invicta champ. She was in Rising. She was in Deep, Pancrase, and now the UFC. She's on a 8-fight win streak as well. So, and she submitted Angela Magana via Von Flue choke in Japan. That's pretty sweet. Kevin Scott, any news on Shevchenko Andrade? The only thing we've heard, Andrade recently said that she's hoping for like April or May, I think. That's what they're hoping for, Marcel.
Yeah, the only thing the UFC is posting about Valentina is Valentine stuff because it's February 14th already. So almost. So I haven't heard anything about that. So no idea.
That's okay. I talked a little bit about some other stuff earlier when I was waiting for you. Like Khabib, he had some comments in Russia. Talked to RT. I don't know if you saw that. Basically said like he's like, I have no news for you guys. Like we're gonna talk and I'll let you know. Like it sure seemed like he's done, Marcel, but we'll see. Also, I don't know if you saw this Glover Teixeira, Marcel. He's going to be the backup.
Yeah, that's horrible. Sorry to say, that's horrible that he has to be the backup.
I agree, dude. I wrote the article and I'm like, this guy should have got the title shot. He really should have.
Yeah.
5-fight win streak, Marcel. He beat Anthony Smith. He beat Thiago Santos. He is the number 1 contender. Isn't it funny how Dana White a few weeks ago was like, we have all the number 1 contenders fighting for the belt now, but except in this case, Glover doesn't get that. Why doesn't Glover get the shot?
Yeah, why would we take Dana White any more serious with what he says, man? I mean, the dude says whatever he thinks he says, and it doesn't make sense sometimes. Sometimes it does, don't get me wrong, but 9 out of 10 times, I mean, Dana White, I believe him as much as my 5-year-old niece would say something to me. You know what I mean? So, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. Here's a question from Kevin. You guys always say Nunes is near retirement. I think it was more Marcel had predicted that, right? You predicted that, Marcel? Didn't you predict that?
Yeah.
I don't see it. Kids are expensive. I think she can keep smashing cans and cashing checks. I think Dana likes her too.
Yeah, but I mean, don't you think she already has earned a lot? You know, plus she has some. I think she has some sweet sponsor deals as well. So she can do other stuff, you know, besides the fighting, I think as well. So It depends, man. You got to keep having that drive. Khabib doesn't have the drive anymore to fight, and if Nunez doesn't see any challenges for her anymore in the future, I don't think she will hang around. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We will see. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, I think that's a totally fair point. I agree with you there. We can go to some. You want to go to some fight announcements on your page, Marcel? You want to do that?
Sure. Yeah,
Let's do it. Let's do it. Hold up here. All right. I swear to God, when I saw this morning, I was like, Kelvin Gaslin got a late replacement opponent? Shit. I swear to God, bro. Because he looks exactly like him. We got Don Madge against Kelvin Gaslin Jr. here. I love this fight, dude. This is a great fight. What day is it? March 13th. So that's the Edwards card, Kamayev. Don Madge, this fight with Tay Edwards, he looked amazing in that fight. And I don't think he's fought since then. Or he fought for Aziem, right?
For Aziem, yeah.
Bro, he's barely fought. I really like the guy, but he needs to be more active. Haqparast, though, has been a disappointment, arguably. I mean, Marcel, he's lost a few times where he should have won and stuff. Like, he is a good prospect. I think he's still a TriStar. Yeah, he's still a TriStar. So still training with a good gym, but and he's a king. So he trains with Kelvin too.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I didn't know they trained together. I thought they just looked like each other. Holy crap! I had no idea. What do you think of this fight?
It's a good fight, man. I mean, but yeah, Haqparast. I like him a lot, but man, he in the Dober fight, he got knocked out, and I think the last fight he was supposed to fight Sarukian. I think he dodged the bullet there. Nothing against Haqparast, by the way. Then Madge has looked good so far in the UFC, man, but we have to see him against better opposition, and I think this is a perfect fight to see where he stands and where Haqparast stands in the division right now. I think it's a fun fight. Two pretty much young guys in the UFC, lightweight. Looking forward to it. I think it's a fun matchup. And short notice for Haqparast, so kudos to him for taking the fight.
For Guram topped the odds. You told me the other day he fell off the card, so that's unfortunate. Yeah. I like that guy, man. He looked good in his fight with that Polish guy.
Garbrandt. Yeah,
Garbrandt. Exactly. Yeah, he looked great. This is another short notice fight. This is next weekend. This is Pena's filling in for Jay Herbert, which was going to be a banger, by the way. Herbert and Close. Pena needs a win here. Close needs a win. This is two guys need a win, Marcel. The loser could easily be among the 60 guys cut.
This is a weird-ass fight, dude, to be honest. This is stylistically a really weird fight. Difficult to say, man. I won't give my pick here. I have a winner in mind in this one, but it's kind of a weird stylistic matchup. I think it will be fun.
Yeah. I mean, Close, I think, will be favored. He's a better wrestler, I guess, on paper, but Pena's got some skills, man. He's looked good at times. Ji Young Kim against Pollyanna Botello. So she's got one of the better nicknames, Fire Fist. I don't know why she's called that. Does she have any knockouts, but they call her Fire Fist? It's a sweet nickname.
I have no idea, to be honest.
I just don't even think she has a knockout. I could be. Let me double check. I gotta make sure. I don't want to slag her if she actually does. She could be this crazy knockout artist. I'm completely forgetting. Ji Young Kim. She has 2 knockouts in 12 career fights. Actually, sorry, not 12, 14 career fights. So I don't really know why she called herself Fire Fist. Oh, it's because she knocked out Kassem. And after that, they got the nickname for her. Because she's knocked out the worst woman in that division. I don't know about this fight. I mean, Botello and Kim have both been inconsistent. What do you think of this one?
Same, like you said, both are very inconsistent. I think Botello is more well-rounded than Kim. Kim got that win against Quiche, but I think she lost that fight clearly, in my opinion. She got that win over Kassem, but yeah, okay. Botello hasn't looked really bad in most of her fights, but also hasn't looked very special to me at all. So it's like a low tire, it's strawweight, flyweight, right? Flyweight fight. I have a favorite in this one, but I wouldn't say it because you don't want me to.
It's okay if you say a favorite. I just don't want to give a pick right now just because it's so far away.
I think Botello has a better chance to win this fight than Ji Young Kim.
Cool. I need to look into her a little bit more, but I remember when she knocked out Kondo, so she's got some skills. I'm just looking at Kim's UFC resume. And by the way, that fight with Kish was borderline robbery, if I remember correctly. And a lot of us were surprised by that one. But
Yeah, that was a horrible judged fight. That was not good. I think Keish clearly won that fight.
we say that every week, I swear, man. All right. Yeah, this one, I like this fight. And you know what? Marcel, this should have been the fight in the first place. They were calling each other out in the first place. I don't even know why they went and gave him Johnny Walker. I prefer this matchup because this is the fight where Jim Crute can prove he's a top 10 guy, which I think he is. I don't think Anthony is anymore. He looked great in his last fight. Don't get me wrong, looked amazing as Clark. I cannot forget what happened to Glover. I cannot forget how he got beat by Rakic. He got just beat up badly in those fights, Marcel. Jamie Crute, especially on the ground, is extremely dangerous, and he's a lot younger. I got to be honest, man, I like Crute a lot in this fight. What do you think?
It's actually Crute gets a replacement, and it's probably a higher ranked opponent, a better. If he wins, it's a better win to win against Smith than against Walker, in my opinion, at this moment. Yeah, Crute is good on the ground. We saw that. Only lost to Misha Serkinov.
Peruvian necktie, baby, from the Toronto native.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and Smith's overall pretty good, but he was on the decline, but he looked good against Clark, So as an intriguing matchup, I think if Crute wins this one, he will likely get a top 6 opponent next. And I mean, somebody on a win streak. Smith won his last fight. He needs to win this fight to stay in the top 10, I think.
I think so too, man. I mean, he's there kind of by default right now. That top 10 is not the greatest. But the thing is, like, there are so many guys outside the top 10 that are pushing these guys now, like Crute, like Jamal Hill, who's number 15, like Magomed Ankalaev, who's number 11. Like, to me, these guys will take over Anthony Smith very soon. Like, if Ankalaev fights him, he would be a massive favorite to beat Anthony Smith right now, So right now, Smith is actually ranked number 6, Marcel. This is a big step up for Crute, who's number 12. I like the fight for him, though, bro. I got to be honest. But, it's an interesting matchup. And, okay, so it's not 5 rounds. It's 3 rounds.
Yeah.
So that makes it a little bit more easy to break down, I guess. This fight was announced a while ago, wasn't it? It just got officially announced?
It was just got official. It was verbally agreed for a long, long time.
Isn't it crazy how Thiago's going to fight on that card and Glover, who beat him, is just going to wait around and see if he can get a fight? Like, why couldn't they have did Glover and Rakic instead?
I don't know, man. No idea.
Like, Glover's not getting paid.
Thiago will at least fight on the same card as his girlfriend, Yana.
Yana's on this card too. I think they're engaged now, bro. So they're engaged. Yeah.
Or am I wrong? Are they not on the same card?
No, I think they might be, but I'm just saying I think it's his fiance now. Like they're getting pretty serious.
No, I'm an idiot, man.
They're on different cards. Okay, no worries.
Yeah.
You're not an idiot, Marcel. Dude, how could this guy be an idiot? Marcel does more of these fight announcements, and he's got so many dates in his little head there, guys. Like I can't blame you, Marcel. You got so many dates in your head, and fights and announcements, and it's like I see the post you put every day, dude.
You know what sucks, man? We have now those months with February 20, February 27, but March is also March 20 and March 27.
I know, isn't that weird? I keep thinking, I'm like, this date can't be right. I have to keep double checking. I literally have like OCD for that, man.
It just sucks, man.
Exact same dates. I know, it's random. So we talked about that one. This fight is happening this weekend. We talked about all those. I mean, I did my. Do you have your picks for this weekend? Do you have your picks, or
yeah, I have them in my.
You want to give some picks out, or it's up to you?
Yeah,
you have 10 minutes.
Ask me what you. Yeah, sure. Ask me what you want to know.
Okay, so obviously myself and Cole went through the card on Tuesday. You were there, Marcel. You guys can go back on Tuesday and watch the whole show for my picks, but I'd like to hear Marcel's picks. Let me get your thoughts on a few of these fights, Marcel. I know some of your picks already because you had given some, but what about this fight? Because I'd like to hear your thoughts on this one. Jillian Robertson against Miranda Maverick. Who are you picking in this one?
Yeah, it's a horrible fight to pick, to be honest, man, because I think Maverick looked really good in the UFC debut against Liana Jujua, and the fight got stopped after 5 minutes because of that broken nose or cut on her nose from Jujua. Robertson has looked really decent in the UFC, but when she gets stopped by an opponent, she doesn't. Against Barber, she didn't look good. Her last time out against Taylor Santos, she didn't really look good. She got actually overpowered by Taylor Santos, who sent her twin sister in her UFC debut against Mara Romero Borella, because after that she's been doing amazing. I don't know what happened in that debut. And Jillian Robertson also lost to Mayra Bueno in a fight she was winning until she got submitted in the first round. It's really tough for me. I'm going with a safe pick in this one. I'm going with Robertson via decision.
Oh, really?
But,
The safe pick, eh? That's she's the underdog.
Yeah, I think it's a safe pick, man.
Wow.
I think if I don't go with a safe pick, I would go with Maverick via stoppage. But I'm going with Robertson. I think she can edge out a decision in this one.
You guys know I'm on the opposite ends of them on this one. I like Maverick, but we'll see what happens. It's an interesting fight. I see a lot of people on Robertson. Don't get me wrong. What were your thoughts on this fight, Marcel? Phil Rowe against Gabe Green. Phil Rowe, one fight in the UFC, but man, a huge reach advantage in this fight. Gabe Green, one fight in the UFC, lost. Sorry, Rowe hasn't fought in the UFC, a Contender Series fight. What do you think of this matchup, though?
Yeah, man, it's Gabriel Green. It's the second fight. He first fought against Daniel Rodriguez in the UFC. It was short notice debut. For Rowe, it's also his first fight in the UFC after coming from a Contender Series win against Leon Shabazian. Both guys have a win against Leon Shabazian, by the way. Sorry, Leon, if you see this, I'm sorry, man. You're probably going to smash me in the next podcast. But yeah, I mean, Green has looked much better in his career, in my opinion. He has a lot more better wins against some well-respected names in the game. Rowe, he did look good in the second round against Leon, but he lost the first one. Third round, he finished it. I would be Gabriel Green all the way in this one, man. I think Green is, I don't know if he's the favorite, but he should be, and I'm taking Green via, I think even a stoppage in the second or third round.
He's a small favorite. He's minus 140. And Rowe, actually, it's on best fight odds, he's listed under Philip Rowe for this fight. Against Shabazian was a huge underdog in that fight and won. So I got to be honest, man. I think with the physical advantage, he's a huge reach advantage in this fight. You guys know I like that. So that's one of the main reasons I'm taking here. But, you know, it's Gabe Green he had the one fight, he looked pretty good. So it's an interesting fight. The Simone Kelleher fight, I'm assuming you're taking Simone in that one. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, you're assuming is correct.
I assume he's correct. How about Yoel and Gutierrez? What about that one?
I'm taking Gutierrez wins this fight. I think he will pick him probably apart with low kicks or leg kicks. Yeah, man. And a decision. Yeah, definitely a decision.
Yeah, I think it goes the distance. But again, you guys know I like Yoel's reach. 8-inch reach advantage. That is huge. Pollyanna, Vienna, and Mallory Martin. This is a tough fight to call. I picked Martin, but it's tough. What do you think?
Yeah, it's a horrible fight to call, to be honest. Let's be true. I mean, Martin, she's a fun prospect, but I mean, she got handled by Verna Jandiroba in her debut against. She almost lost against Hannah Cifers, man, but she came back with it in the second round. Pollyanna Viana has looked good so far in the UFC, in my opinion, despite from her debut against Maya. Back then, Stevenson, now Kawawana Hele or something. I can't pronounce that. I'm sorry. And then the last fight, she looked good against Emily Whitmire. So for me, it's a 50-50 fight. I'm going with Pollyanna Viana split decision here. I'm not sure. Can be Martin as well. It's super close.
Who did she marry that changed her name, or was that her original name, the Kuna Helly one? Is that her?
That's her original name, and then she was with Joe Stevenson.
Oh, she was with Joe Stevens. I had no idea. I literally had no idea. This is the girl for Tough from a few years ago. Yes, I kind of remember now. Yeah. Never mind. Yeah, that's a tough name to pronounce.
I think her name is now Beltran. She's with Joey Beltran now. So
you're joking? Are you serious?
No, I'm serious.
She went from Joe Stevenson, the little guy, to Big Joey Beltran, the heavyweight. Are you kidding me? Wow, good for her. Next fight, Bilal Muhammad, Diego Lima. Is it safe to say you're taking Bilal?
Yeah, man. I think his wrestling is too good in this fight. Yeah,
me too. And then same with Rodolfo Vieira and Hernandez. You taking Rodolfo by submission?
Yeah, I feel bad for Hernandez that they match him up with.
It's a bad matchup, right? I think it is. Yeah. It looks like a bad matchup. I think Rodolfo is the real deal. They just put this on the main card. Bobby Green, Jim Miller. This is a close fight. Two veterans, very similar kind of matchup, I guess, to a lot of Bobby Green's recent fights. I feel like he's going to win decision here. What do you think?
It's pretty easy. It's either Miller in the first round or Bobby Green via decision. So I'm going with Bobby Green. I
agree. I mean, Jim could get that armbar guillotine, probably jump at Gilly. That's probably what he'd want to do, but I think Green too. Patolo and Marquez. I've seen some people on Patolo here. It's a close fight, I think. I took Marquez on the podcast. I'm actually going to take him by submission. I think he can actually get the submission, but this is kind of a weird fight, man. The layoff, 3-year layoff, bro. It's a long time. What do you think?
I mean, I really like Pitolo, man, but it's hard for me to pick someone who lost against Callum Potter in his debut.
Dude,
man.
I know.
Shocked. I know. I was shocked when
after the fight with Justin Sumter, I was like, this guy is incredible. I thought his striking, the body shots, he goes in there and just gets dominated by a guy who's not good at all. I don't think he's on the UFC roster anymore. Callum Potter, no way, right?
No, he is. He retired, I think.
There you go. well, this fight, Gaslin and Heinisch, because if you were on the podcast, I picked Heinisch, so did Cole. I think he's got a chance here, man. What do you think?
Yeah, same. I think Heine. I think, man, Gaslin is a good fighter, but I really would prefer him to go down to welterweight, man. I think that's his real weight class, but I know he doesn't want to. He lost, but against the top of the division, the middleweight. Don't forget that. I think it will be a close fight. Got a decision win for Heinisch in this one because I think he will edge it out, but. Can go either way, in my opinion. I'm not sure in my pick, but I would go with Heinisch.
Barber and Grasso co-main event. What do you think of that one?
Yeah, man, Bucky Barber's going to hate me, but I'm going with Grasso in this one. I think experience and all that kind of stuff is pretty big in this one. And I think Alexa Grasso, we know her ground game isn't really great. She's more of a stand-up fighter, but I think she can handle Barber on the ground. Although Barber, don't get me, maybe I say that in the wrong way. I think Barber is better on the ground, but I think she can fight Barber on the ground. She won't win a fight on the ground with Barber, but she can fight with her on the ground. I think Grasso will try to keep it standing. I got a decision win for Alexa on this one.
And the last one, main event, Usman Burns. I picked Usman by decision. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, man, I really like Gilbert Burns. He's a great fighter, but stylistically, if you look, I think Burns has a slight advantage in the stand-up. Ground, I think Burns has some slick jiu-jitsu, but, man, we all know that a lot of jiu-jitsu guys have a lot of problems with some heavy wrestlers. And surprise, surprise, Usman is a very heavy wrestler. So if I'm 50-50 on the fight, I always go with the wrestler. So for me, Kamaru Usman in this one, unanimous decision win. I hope it will be a fun fight, but it can be a really snoozer as well if Usman can keep getting that if he can get the takedown quickly and he can control Burns on the ground. Although it will be difficult because Burns is not bad on the ground. He's actually a BJJ black belt. I think he's a world champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu as well before he went to MMA. So he's a good fighter. I really like Gilbert Burns, but I think Usman takes a unanimous decision.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. And again, like I really want to take Burns. Actually, he could win. He's a big underdog, so I think the odds are a little bit too high on Usman. But again, Usman has so many advantages in this fight: the wrestling, the reach. The age, the height, the striking output, everything, the chin. I think everything he's got a little bit of an advantage on.
Adam, man, how much trouble would the UFC be in if this fight doesn't?
Dude, if they get COVID, if someone gets COVID,
dude,
you can't do the pay-per-view then. They have to put. Remember when Johnny Hendricks fought Stephen Thompson a few years ago, and and they put it on free TV. They're like, we can't do this as a pay-per-view. I think that would happen, and it would probably be the worst main event of all time between Barber and
But they don't learn from that kind. They don't learn from those kind of stuff, man. They keep doing that.
It's hard to be fair, and it fell off because of COVID as well. So that should have been their heads up. Last question, Marcel, from these guys, and then we're going to plug our stuff, okay? JCSO says Burns had problems in clinching the cage against Gunnar Nelson most recently. Usman is king there. Dude, I agree completely. That's where I think the fight ends up being decided, just like Masvidal. Even if Usman can't get takedowns, Marcel, I think he could be the strong guy and push him against the fence. Last question. You want to answer that? Go ahead.
Yeah, Usman has just a very high fight IQ, so I wouldn't
exactly. He's a smart fighter too. And then JCSO, last question for today. Have you guys spoken about Jones and Stipe? Jones versus Stipe, Francis winner. Great podcast as normal. Thanks, man. We've talked about a little bit, I think, the last couple of weeks. Jones, apparently, according to Dana White, is going to fight the winner of the 260 main event. And I'm all for that. That's not a problem with me. You know what I mean? They need Jones fighting for that belt right away. You can't risk him fighting someone else. I think it's fine. And any last thoughts on that, Marcel?
I mean, they're going to do it anyway, and I don't really mind. Jones is proven one of the best guys ever. So
exactly.
I'm cool with it.
And as good as like TJ is, and some people would say like there's a comparison here. I just think what Jones has done is just we've all wanted to see him fight at heavyweight for years. Now he's going to do it. We're not going to let something stop this. And then Marcus says, great show. Love the chemistry you guys have. Thanks, man. I love Marcel, too. He's one of my big friendly friends here that we got on the podcast. We got Marcel. We got Cole. We got some great guys coming on. And obviously, all you guys in the chat, man. You guys kill it for us. It wouldn't be fun if we didn't have you guys to interact with, honestly. So I appreciate that. Hopefully we can get more viewers. We're trying. Marcel, plug your stuff, man. Let's get out of here.
MMADNA.nl, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you want to see it, and Big Marcel24 on Twitter, Instagram. Instagram mostly for UFC announcements, and Twitter for everything else MMA related.
Sweet. I'm at Adam Martin. Find me on Twitter, YouTube. The podcast is available, MMAOddsbreaker.com, home of the podcasts, and then DJPen.com, MMARatings.net, MyMMAnews.com. And I forgot about this fight, Marcel. I got 15 seconds left to talk about it really quick. Elias Theodorou, Canadian fighter, is returning to the cage against Matt Dwyer in March. The winner of that fight, if it's Theodorou especially, if he gets a stoppage, he might get another shot in the UFC. He did win his last fight by knockout. Have a great day, guys. We'll be back Monday. Enjoy UFC